Warmly welcome to our low-code crash course here at Solita. And who are we then? We are a company, an IT company. We have an aim to create an impact that lasts. And we are doing that by utilizing the data and IT, combining that with human insight. And we are a company of more than 1,700 people now, and we are in 7 different countries, and we try to grow by 20% each year. And the last year we had a turnover for over 200 million euros. And we have different units that we work within. So we have software development, which is presenting today here, and we have strategy, we have data, design, cloud, and connectivity. And as I mentioned, we are present in 7 different countries, originally from Finland, and then been growing from there to Belgium, Denmark, Sweden, Estonia, Norway, and Germany. And who are we here today? It's me, Carina Mätänen, and I will be your host today. I work as a customer success manager here at Solita and also as people lead. And with me I have Jasmo.
Hello.
You can present yourself.
Yeah, I'm head of low-code in Solita, based on Finland, and I'm here today to talk about, well, obviously low-code.
Exactly. And during this session today, you can ask your questions on the chat box, and we will have a Q&A in the end. And I'm leaving this over to you, Jasper.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, and good morning. So today we are talking about low-code, and I'm trying to give you some insights and make some sense of all the marketing we are hearing and all the other things. And luckily somebody started drilling next door, so it eases the feeling here. But anyhow, about software development in Solita, and why I'm showing this is that Solita has long background of software development. When we started in Finland, we were a software development house. We still have almost 500 people in developer unit, and we do lots of stuff. We do enterprise architectures. We do software in each platforms like mobile and web and embedded services, drones, whatever. And low code is one of our tools that we are using. It's not the only tool, and we want to be technology agnostic, so that we are always picking the right tools for the right task. So point here is to show that what is the angle we are approaching this low code in Solita. So we are software engineering powerhouse. We have lots of developers. We have lots of different technologies. And in addition to that, we have lots of designers, we have lots of data engineers, scientists who also know these kind of technologies. So under a Solita umbrella, there's a bunch of technologies, lot of technologies, and we are always picking them that we feel that are best for the need. So that is the angle of my low code presentation and the crash course today. So how low code feels like for a powerhouse, or from the angle of software engineering. So today we focus mostly real life experiences of low code, what we've learned, what our customers have learned, and what kind of mistakes we have made, and so on. And we try to keep, or I try to keep this as concrete as possible, but unfortunately, low code as a term isn't the most concrete term ever made. So we need to a little bit go in the high level as well. Topics of today are at the left, and then which are also important, but we don't go through today, is citizen development, governance, low code and AI, and fusion teams. We are touching them a little bit because nowadays you can't have a presentation without mentioning AI, you know, so it just has to happen. And also the other aspects, they are important, so we are going them through, but they won't be the key elements. Excellent. And in the end, there are time for questions. So if I provoke you enough, then it's time to ask and comment my thoughts. So, low code mentioned 100 times already. What is it all about? What does it mean? The rumor says that one low code platform vendor called OutSystems actually made up the term. That is the rumor. Nobody can now say if it's true or false, but anyhow, from 2014 it has been widely used. Forrester started to use it, and Gartner picked it up, and so on. So in all of a sudden there started to be magic quadrant of low code application platforms, for example, and from there low code started to like gain momentum. What it actually means nowadays, as there are hundreds of platforms that call themselves low code platforms, what it means is that, or what is common between all those platforms is that they usually have graphical development interface. So you drag and drop, you have less places or less need for code, so low amount of code, and the platform promises high productivity. In a way or another, the productivity is higher when you are using this awesome tool. But that is all common, like this is only thing that is common between those platforms. After that, it starts to be like each product has their own unique position and features and capabilities, and because of that speaking about low code is quite high level, and when you want to go to the concrete level and have concrete examples, you need to talk about the platforms themselves or the products, and that's why we are today as well talking about the products in the last part of the presentation. We used to have, or we have been in low code business from 2019, so 4 years now. And when we started it, and when we had the customer discussions, negotiations, and all that, it always felt strange because every discussion felt like we are not in the same page. The counterpart was talking about something else that we were presenting, and when we started to have more and more these discussions, it turned out, and we understood that hey, there are 4 aspects of low code, and of course we are consultants, so there's always 4 things. But anyhow, there are 4 angles of low code, and you can approach it from the internal IT angle. Like, hey, we found out that we have Power Platform, which is one of low code tools in our company. We should govern it, and in all of a sudden, hey, it's our responsibility to govern it. We want to like have it governed well, and that kind of thinking. But then if we were meeting with business transformation people or business development people, they were eager to look for competitive advantage that they could get by using low code. They were interested of training people, they were interested of projects, they were interested of that kind of stuff. Then professional developers like us, and internally in Solita, people were asking like about automation, how to like be better, faster, more efficient, that kind of stuff. And then in some companies where citizen development were already picked up, people were thinking that, hey, I want to use this tool. Don't limit me, please enable me, please empower me, train me. And this all is like, this is one other angle of low code in that sense that when talking about it, it's hard to know what we are talking about. When you are having the talk with me, for example, it's important to understand that I come from professional development background, and I'm most probably like thinking from that angle. But if you are talking with Karina, she probably thinks it from different angle. Well, there has been a lot of hype about low code. It's fun to be on a hype train every now and then, and it's nice to be like feeling when Microsoft and other big players are pushing and marketing things that we are also interested in. So companies are investing, they are interested of, momentum is there, but why? Of course, always everybody is looking for savings and better productivity. Hey, doesn't like feels pretty good. Let's be more productive. Maybe a little bit more unique thing for low code is that people are using low code to have more available talent. We go more to that a little bit later. Then citizen development is one thing. For example, in Finland, I know personally many companies who are empowering citizen development. They are asking and training their own people that, hey, use this tool. We believe it helps you to be more productive. And now when AI will be involved, the low code plus AI thing will bring citizen developers even more productive. That is easy to forecast. And then there's fusion development, which means that professional developers and citizen developers or low code developers are working together to tackle complex problems together so that we get benefits of both worlds. We can do simple stuff fast, and we are still capable of doing complex stuff as well. So these are the things that companies are looking for. This is what marketing is like talking to companies and what Gartner is saying and that kind of stuff. Now we go a little bit deeper to each bullet, like how is that possible? What is the like savings? Okay, it's easy to say it. Let's save money, but why that could happen? When talking with low-code application platform vendors and reading their marketing materials, it's they are indicating quite high multipliers of speed. Like with these tools, you can do 2 times faster code, or 3 times, or 5 times, or 80 times faster, which is already pretty fast, I think. And what is surprising in all this marketing messaging is that they are not lying. They are not wrong. Writing or implementing solutions with low code is really fast. But the thing here is that when you compare just implementation to implementation, it's really fast. But of course, when you are having software like proper project, you have designers, you have architects, you have planning meetings, you have product owners, project managers, all the other like people, stakeholders, meetings. The project is much more than just having fast developers. So in real life project, even if you are using low code platform, you probably will not achieve that kind of multipliers, like 2 times faster, even though the actual, like building some component form or simple mobile app can be like 5 minutes compared to 2 days type of thing. But in bigger project and in bigger world, that's not the case. When you go to the bigger projects, the overhead of all the other things are like leveling the playing field. Savings and efficiency part is also that junior developers, so people in their early career, are already making more value faster than with traditional development. So in that sense, we can get price points, for example, down, and therefore save. And next, I will explain why that is. The value creation idea that junior developers can be more effective means this, like in early career or when you are just entering the software development, you start to make value pretty fast when you are using low code. You can think of we in Solita we have nurses, we have different kind of career changers doing low code. It took them, for example, 3 months, half a year to be able to contribute fully in our projects. What that does mean that our projects, we are big software development company, we are not doing the simple stuff. We are not like our competitive advantage is not in the simple stuff, but in the harder stuff. So in 3 to 6 months, somewhere there, they were able to contribute to the complex stuff. Just an example. And why is that? If you think of full stack developer back before cloud, so 10 years or 15 years ago, it was good when you were a full stack developer when you would be able to write Java or .NET or some backend language. And then you had front-end skills as well. You knew how to run tests and you knew how to get your stuff to the production and that kind of stuff. But then somebody said that, hey, public cloud, that's the stuff. You should go there. And you get more, and you will get more from there. But it also means that in those same full stack developers, they need to understand at least something about VNets, firewalls, how pricing works in public cloud, how stuff is deployed to the public cloud, how you use different kind of starting from GitHub Actions to Azure DevOps and so on. How you produce your infrastructure over and over again. There are many managed services in cloud. There was just 2 weeks ago Microsoft Build developer conference where they announced something like, I don't know, 100 new things into Azure. So you need to keep up with that knowledge to be able to be at the spearhead in a developer thing. And there is pretty much things. And for example, you could do your whole career just in one of these topics in public cloud. Your whole career could be running Kubernetes or security. But in the same time, you need to know something about security, for example, to be able to be developer in Solita, for example. Very many of us have heard that there has been some kind of security incident, not our projects, of course, but in the world there have been security incidents where some like S3 bucket, so files in the internet has been wide open for everybody, and everybody's, hey, this is so basic mistake, they are stupid. Yeah, well, they need to know a lot of things. compared to low-code developer, the platform takes away most of the burden. Platform takes care of how to take the stuff to the production, how testing is done, how we monitor performance. Pricing is taken care of somewhere else. Security things, they are all built in. Developers only need to know how to do stuff with the platform to be able to contribute to the projects. And of course, they need to know how to be a part of the software engineering process. But yeah. But they don't need to know anything else before they kind of start to contribute. Then when they get more experience, when they have been juniors for a while and start to be mediors, then they start to understand that, hey, we are using this platform. I have been doing things with this for 2 years. I want to extend it a little bit with JavaScript. I want to do database design, integrations design. I can be responsible of integrations and so on. So even though the first step is like faster in low code, in the end they start to know exactly the same things than traditional developers. So that is the reason why we can say that, and what we have seen, that why like junior developers are able to contribute. One thing to remember, you always need an architect or a tech lead or senior developer in that team with junior developers, because otherwise they don't learn, or they learn by making mistakes. And of course, it's saying that fail fast, but with seniority and or architect in a team, you can avoid failing altogether. So you always need that, so that the juniors can grow faster. So please don't read this like, hey, we don't need anything more than juniors, or maybe we can just pick people from the street, they will learn. That is not the case. You need to have guidance, but the team can consist of more diverse backgrounds than maybe earlier. Then about citizen development. That is the one way of thinking of talent. You have already talent in your company. We call them citizen developers because they are not professional developers. Why citizen development matters is that it is really empowering and encouraging for the citizens, for the employees to be able to do stuff that they need by themselves and fast. And when they do, they are really proud of it, and they should be. They have learned something new, they are making value and impact. That's like great. But when a company has a low-code platform, it doesn't always mean that, hey, now you can empower citizen developers. We go to the different platforms in a bit, but there are platforms that are more designed for professional developers, and then platforms that are more like no-code platforms, which are more for citizen development and that kind of stuff. What we need to remember about citizen development, though, is that it needs to be safe. Safe for the developer and safe for the company. So when they start to try to do stuff and test around or implement the first stuff, it doesn't mean that the company is in the newspaper and there has been some kind of security leak or something like that. So we need to have that kind of guardrails and governance in place. But I don't want to say that governance is like stopping people. Usually when we talk about governance, it's negative thing. Like we are denying people from using that and that and that. With low code, that's not the case. Of course, there's a little bit that as well, but mostly it's like how do we get these things to the developers or citizens so that they can utilize them easily. And one thing more to note is that even though the platforms are many times for professional, citizen developer friendly, they are also having features for professionals, and they are in the same platform. So what it means that this kind of citizen developer can be in the situation where they cannot get forward anymore by themselves. And AI will be pushing this boundary when citizens can just say that, hey, do this for me, and this then it is generated from them, and they don't need to know how it was done. And from the governance and internal IT perspective, that is interesting challenge that we will be facing, but we face these one by one. Then platforms. There are many of these platforms, and now I'm trying to steer us towards a little bit more concrete stories of things. But first, of course, categorization, because why not? There are basically two kinds of, well, I guess there are many axes, but we have identified, or we think this way. So we have two kinds of platforms: standalone platforms or tools, low-code tools, and this product extension low-code tools. What it means is that product extension, you have SAP, you have Salesforce, you have Dell Boomi for integrations or something else, and you can extend, you can create something by yourself using low-code on top of that product. But if you don't have, for example, Salesforce in a company, I think that nobody buys it just because you want to do low-code. You would like to have the CRM or something else and then extend it with low-code. But then we have the standalone systems, OutSystems, Power Platform, Microsoft Power Platform, Mendix, Appian, and so on and so forth, which are not related directly to any ready-made platform. So you can take OutSystems and do whatever with it. You don't need to have that is the difference there. So with standalone tools, you can think of problem and do whatever problem, and when you're doing this product extension things, the problem usually is related to the stuff that you do with the product already. Then other angle, because for me it's easier, this helps me to understand how the world works. So complexity, if we think all the potential use cases in this line, like which we could solve using no code or low code, or then we have so much complexity that we need to use tailor-made software. In here, if we put these low code tools, I invented this category by myself. Low code for professional developers, meaning that these are mainly not for citizen developers. They are mainly for people who are, for example, Salesforce experts already, Salesforce consultants or Salesforce in-house experts or whatever, OutSystems or Mendix consultants or in-house people. People who are in software development in way or in other. And then we have these no-code, low-code tools, which are approaching from a different angle that, hey, let's empower citizens. Hey, let's be really productive, and let's pick our focus areas a little bit more. Like let's focus on building certain stuff in certain way. And it makes sense. Like my Zoho Creator, I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but you can basically do simple stuff related to CRM with that. Microsoft Power Platform, you can do simple stuff. You can do pretty complex stuff as well, but it starts with no code. You can start using it with basically zero understanding of development. Whereas OutSystems, Mendix, you need to understand how software works before you do stuff with that. And there are many of those platform names, and it would take this whole hour to go through all this, like what are the products and what are the differences. So we don't go there today. And for me and Solita, we know best OutSystems and Microsoft Power Platform. But of course, we know something about those others as well, because you just can't know everything about everything. So now, this is how the world can be, low-code world can be interpreted, understood. So now, after all this, lots of like talk about different angles and what we are looking for with low code. How should you then pick your own platform? There are plenty. In some slide I said there are over 200 different low code platforms. So pick one or two. It's easy task, right? It's not. Because there are so many different tools, and nowadays in software development or in world, we have one common problem, at least I do, and that is that there are no anymore that kind of products or ways of solving problems where one way is absolutely the best. But if you are trying to build e-commerce site, there are 10 different ways to do it, and you can argue that this one way is the best. And but in the same way, you could argue the second one as well. So when you are thinking of low-code platform, those categorizations given before maybe helps you, like how advanced solutions we need to make, how about market, our domain where we are, how is this platform giving some advantage in there, do they have good references in this area, for example. Do we looking for standalone tools, or do we already have, for example, Salesforce, or are we already heavily invested in Microsoft ecosystem? Should we pick those because of that, or should we have lots of internal or external development? Should we have a platform, standalone platform, mainly for the developers, so that they can do stuff faster? That kind of thinking needs to be done. And then also if there is need for multiple platforms. And when we go there, the world becomes even more complex. But you could think that you let's add one platform to there what we currently have. Are we looking for long time and long-term relationship with the low-code platform, or do we have this one project that would benefit from it? Do we have already matching talent, for example, Salesforce people, or in our case we picked OutSystems. We have .NET developers, and that has some kind of weak link with OutSystems, so it makes sense. Also, we are doing stuff with Microsoft Power Platform. We had already 50 Microsoft .NET developers familiar with Azure and that kind of stuff. It makes sense for us to pick Power Platform. But that's like the way how we did it. We were following the low-code market a long time, and we were not super. We didn't believe it that much. We were following it, but we weren't believing it that much until 2019, when I don't know what happened, but we started to believe it. Inside of Solita, we started to feel that something has changed. The competition and power and cloud systems and whatnot have been enhanced to the level that this low code is actually delivering what it promises. Earlier, we didn't believe it. Now we are full on. So maybe we were too scared of it. I don't know, too conservative, but it took some time. We did market research quite widely. It was obvious for us that we need standalone tools because we are mostly offering our services outside. But in the same time, internally we have Workday, for example, which is saying that they are having low-code elements in that, and they do. For us, we were looking for long-time partnerships, and yeah, we had matching talent and so on. So that's why we picked OutSystems and Microsoft Power Platform. We could have picked something else as well, like third or fourth, but we felt like in here that this covers. We do pro code, we do custom coding a lot. That is our bread and butter. This is just an addition to that. So with OutSystems and Microsoft Power Platform, we pretty much cover all the spectrum there is. And we can provide the best possible solutions for our customers, for example, with best possible outcome in that sense. But this is not supposed to be like me trying to sell Solita's expertise to you, but just an example that how we did it and why we did it. Then some more about platforms. As mentioned, I can't put this to the concrete words without going to the platforms and to the products. As mentioned, we are working with Power Platform and OutSystems, and therefore they are my examples today, but they are representing the no-code, low-code area and then the professional development area. So if you have something similar, for example, to no-code, low-code platform, these same principles somewhat apply. Of course, there are differences between products, but they somewhat apply. Yeah, let's talk about Power Platform a little bit. It was in the simpler end of the spectrum. And there we learned with our customers that defined boundaries helps succeeding in projects and brings the Power Platform value for you. I go to the examples a little bit, but first, if you haven't heard about Microsoft Power Platform, it's a bunch of tools tied together, Power BI to data analytics, Power Apps, Power Automate for like the low-code core is there. You can do UI development and then the process things and that kind of stuff. Power Virtual Agents, basically chatbots. Hopefully with OpenAI's newest technology, they will be better in the near future. Power Pages for like portals and that kind of stuff. And these all are of course tied to Microsoft's ecosystem. So Microsoft is trying to build this kind of huge ecosystems where everything is tied together and works fine together. That is their idea and their like unique position that they are doing. And what are our customers doing with Power Platform? They do business critical solutions. They do or they utilize it to enhance their processes. They use it for visualizing and enhancing and ingesting the data. and then there needs to be that governance thing. Power Platform is for citizen also for citizen developers, but they are using it in wide range, but usually internal stuff. Microsoft has launched Power Pages for external stuff as well, but most of these things are done for internal usage. And when it comes to value creation in Power Platform project, it's almost the same graph, but it's not exactly the same than earlier. When it comes to value creation, it is high as long as the scope is small enough. It's impossible to say how small it should be, but that's just like an idea. Power Platform doesn't support like multiple developers, for example. 2 developers in one project is pretty much the maximum amount. It doesn't support people working together. The version control is pretty bad and that kind of stuff. Those things are when the scope increases and project size increases, version control and working together, those are the things, collaboration potential, those are the things that start to make the difference. So you shouldn't go that far with Power Platform. And when you don't go that far, you really get the value. So how to understand? So when we start Power Platform project, we need to understand the scope in the beginning. So there are this kind of a little bit sense of waterfall, in a sense that you need to like have some kind of complete plan, high-level plan of the solution before you start to build it, so that you can avoid all the pitfalls. You can understand in beforehand that if Power Platform is perfect tool for this case. So think your needs and think the technology after that. And the platform has its limitations. It has also technical limitations, but especially these collaboration limitations. And that's something that you need to like take into account. And it always needs to be thought like platform vendors always say that it's possible to do this with our platform. But is it the best way to do it with this platform? That is the question that we should be asking in these things. For example, with Azure, we are with Power Platform, because it's Microsoft's tool and near Azure in that sense, we are extending it with Azure native capabilities because it makes sense. When we need to do something complicated, we do it in Azure, and when we benefit more about fast UI design, for example, or process automation, we do it with Power Platform. I wanted to put some actual numbers here, and of course you could argue over them, but if 2 developers would be working half a year with one project with Power Platform, it starts to be at the maximum size of it. Of course, it depends on the project and how complicated it is and how it's like, but in rule of thumb, the way of thinking. Because in the beginning, we need to know the boundaries of the business case. We need to know that can we do it. For example, if we have real time, we have needs or requirements that we need to be able to answer real time from the system that we are building, Power Platform most probably can't do it. It isn't like built for real-time API things, for example. For that, there's different tools. And you can't push more and more developers there because they are lacking collaboration tools. So you need to like have only small chunks of development done in one place. That is like one thing that I want of no-code, low-code platforms now, like as an example, this Power Platform thing here, that I would like you to remember that this is how the difference of like in when there was the complexity axis, this is what the difference there means when you are at the no-code or simple end, and when you are in the more complex end, when the capabilities of the platform are more complex. When you are in the simple end, you should keep it simple, so you get the best benefits out of it. If you select the simple stuff and try to bend it over and do complex stuff with it, all you get is trouble and bad experience, and then you say that, hey, we tried low code and it's bad, we don't believe it anymore. Then let's talk about OutSystems a little bit. OutSystems was in the middle part of the complexity scope. OutSystems themselves say that, hey, we want to do like 50% of the stuff that traditionally is done by tailor-made code. No-code platforms is like, hey, now we can do this. Now there is return of investment of these kind of things. These weren't earlier. We couldn't do these things. We couldn't do this application or something like that because of the cost. Now OutSystems, we could have done it earlier. We could have like our traditional developers could have done it, but now the idea is that now they can do it faster, cheaper, and therefore we can most probably put the like the real hard work, which can't be done with OutSystems, for example, or shouldn't be done because it's not optimal tool for that. We developers have like free time for that because they can do the simpler stuff with them tools. That is the key element here. And I don't know if I sound like OutSystems salesman to you, but I try not to be like that. But I try to bring you like understanding that what is the difference. And that makes pretty much the same way with Mendix and other things, other tools as well. But what does it mean when we are having this like a platform for professional developers? At the left end, before you had those skills, if you had a bigger project where or portfolio of projects where many mobile applications were done, web services were done, and they were a certain amount of databases, and it was like bigger end of the project scope. You needed to have a lot of experience of different technologies. All the different tools or different problems were solved using a different tool. Like, hey, we are now doing iOS application, we do it with Swift or Objective-C or whatever. And now we have this other thing here, we do it with other technologies, and people who are doing this can't they can't just only do what they know, and they don't know the other technology. In this kind of approach where low-code platform like encapsulates it all, with OutSystems, for example, the same developer can do mobile apps, web services, integrations. They all, whatever you build with it, it's done with exactly the same tools. The same way you create them in the same way. You don't even know when you create the native applications out of it, you don't even know what actually happens under the hood. How it's like, how it's generated, how the native code is done, and so on. So that is the key here, and it's a little bit of talent thing as well, that it's easier to learn how to do all kinds of stuff when you have this kind of one tool, instead of learning bunch of different technologies to be able to like contribute in the project. Other angle is that traditionally in every technology here you had different way to go to the production. With databases you had one way, in like .NET or cloud native things you would push them production in different way. When you did upgrades or updates to your mobile apps, you once again had a different way of building it and supporting it and so on. Now, for example, OutSystems encapsulates it all in one box. So you still need to do the maintenance and you still need to do the deployments and stuff, but it's always done with the same tooling, with the same way. It's not perfect for everything, but it helps a lot when we are in an area where we are in a sweet spot area. So compared what our customers are doing with Power Platform, with OutSystems they are doing like e-services, this kind of customer-facing service portals, or ERP, or like critical services for themselves or their partners, and they are piloting. They are using it for piloting as well. So hey, we have this idea. Should we do it? Should we try it? We have designers. We have business designer already there who is thinking it with our business. They are thinking of doing prototypes with paper or Figma or something. But hey, we do have OutSystems already or some other low-code platform. Hey, let's do the pilot with that, because we can skip altogether the paper phase, because the thing comes out fast enough from low-code platform. And then this kind of payment gateway system is an example of this kind of integration-heavy backend system. So low-code doesn't always mean that it needs to be UI driven or something that end users are using, but it can be also something that runs at the backend. And it says OutSystems, but think of it as a example of this kind of professional development tool. So there are not so much limits. With Power Platform, the first thing what I said is that define boundaries because there are limitations. With OutSystems, there are no limitations. You can do basically anything with it, but it's not perfect for everything. It's like any other technology that it's not perfect for everything. But anyhow, but it has its sweet spots. When you are having this kind of e-service type, or hey, our customer is submitting some kind of form in a web portal, and then it comes to us, to our customer service. They do something with it. Integrations will enrich the information, and then it goes in the process somewhere. That kind of stuff. It is excellent tool, and these are excellent tools for those things. And as long as you don't need to do pixel perfect stuff, like your marketing department or somebody like UX designer is not saying that, hey, we need to have that line half a pixel left, then we are in a problems when we need to have that kind of pixel perfect thing. It's not that we can't do it, but we need to start writing JavaScript. We need to be writing, well, traditional code. And it kind of makes no sense to utilize low-code platform and then on top of it write it all by hand. So OutSystems is perfect when it has like component libraries and that kind of stuff. So when you can utilize those, when you can utilize those things that are in a platform already, it's perfect. But if you need to have your own way, the own pixel perfect world, you can do it, but you don't get the benefits. And these professional development tools, they perform especially well when environment of requirements changes. They are pretty much engineered for that, to respond to a change. Every time when for example, OutSystems, when you publish it, it generates code. It's a code generator. It produces traditional code, which is then run on the server. So every time when you publish it, when changes are published, it generates it all and puts it to the server. What it means that when there are changes or something like that, it can handle it better than if you have only made it by hand, when you need to remember or find your project that, hey, where there was references to this variable or whatever. Okay, enough of OutSystems already, except one more thing, actually two more things, but anyhow, one at a time. This is an example of additional value that these professional development tools give you. This is from OutSystems architecture dashboard. Nowadays it has fancier name, including AI, of course, but I like this better. So idea is that the platform can tell you how well solutions are done and how well technical debt is handled, for example. So now when you have a longer running project, it's not anymore about the feeling. Usually it's about feeling. Project manager or product manager or developers or architect, they have a feeling that, hey, we have a lot of technical debt. That's why we are slow, or that's why we have these problems. We should investigate this more or invest money to the technical debt. These tools have capabilities to show you or analyze what is done and show you that, hey, in here we have those red boxes, there are some problems, and there are lots of green ones, that's perfectly okay. So it gives us a new way of thinking and a new possibility of thinking that hey, this is how we manage like the total cost of ownership. It's not about somebody's feeling that if we have technical debt or not. Also, this enforces and helps us to follow best practices. All these low-code platforms are heavily driven by best practices. The certification paths, learning, training, all that, they are saying to developers that, hey, if you have this kind of problem, you solve it in this way. Compared to traditional development where there are still best practices and those patterns, but every project has its own tooling, own front-end libraries, of course, and so on. So it's a little bit different story then. You can't have that kind of best practices that always when we have this kind of REST API call, we manage it that way because all the times you have different tools. But in these kind of unified platforms, it's a little bit different story because they can always do the same things in the same way. And it helps us. It helps when you have this kind of waves of workload, when people are doing multiple projects, for example. It's easier to join a new project because they all are made in the same way. Not exactly, of course, but the principles are the same. Yeah, so it's called low-code. These professional tools, it's called low-code, but still it's software development. Please remember, it's software development. Developers have new tools. Implementation has new tools, but architects, security designers, UX designers, testing people, you still need them. It's like the other traditional development case. Also, you need to have continuous service. You need to think of those things, as you had earlier as well. So implementation is faster. Implementation benefits from automation and that kind of stuff. but not everything is changed. Development is faster. Please give head start for designers, planning, that kind of stuff. Because compared to the traditional world where you have a sprint 0 or 1 where infrastructure is built, in low-code cases you already have the infrastructure. Developers in a kickoff ask that, hey, Mr. or Mrs. or whoever product owner, what do I do today, tomorrow? Like what feature I will be creating? It is different compared to traditional development where we are setting up infrastructure, getting accesses, building up like all the capabilities that we need. So design and those hard questions, you have a little bit more time to answer those. But when low code is used, be prepared that the start is really fast. Yeah, and think beyond one project. These kind of tools, if you decide to use them, you benefit more when you use it more. It follows don't repeat yourself pattern pretty well, or this kind of internal microservice pattern, where if you have SAP connector done, all the things that you do within the platform can utilize the same connector. So different teams benefit from each other in a new way. We have been talking about reusability of code since I was born in 80s. But probably before that. I haven't been talking before that, but anyhow. But now it's actually happening. The same goes with no-code, low-code things. So Power Platform, that kind of stuff. The same applies there as well, but it's a little bit different angle there, but same applies there. Okay. Lots of platform rambling, so some stories. So, how have we experienced, or how we have experienced with our customers, or what have we heard from our customers, learned from them during the last 4 years? Efficiency and savings. We participated. Our customer was having this kind of competition where they assessed different teams how they deliver value in 1 month. They had the specification. We needed to do this kind of production planning tool for them, and we set up a team and project manager, and we run Scrum. It was a real project. It wasn't just like, hey, we do this technology proof of concept, but it was short but a real project. Customer found out in the end that hey, your team was 20 to 40 times, not times, % faster than traditional development. Okay, this is not academic study. I couldn't go there and say that, hey, it's 20 to 40% faster all the times, every time. But this is like this kind of small signal that here is something. There are possibilities for savings. And why this was? Our team size was in that project. Our team size was 1 tech lead and 2 junior developers, and a project manager / scrum master. We had a tech lead and 2 juniors, but we were in a competition. I don't know, but I assume that our competitors were participating with all stars teams, because of course we were in a competition, and it would make perfect sense to send like your best people there to win a competition. We tried this approach, and we utilized OutSystems in that case. The task, the production planning tool with all the feature, like we have a certain amount of assets that moves around the world, and we need to optimize how they are moved and how the production is planned for them. That is challenging even for OutSystems. We needed to do traditional development there as well. But still, we were faster, or that's what our customer says at least. And we believe that is because in that kind of short-term project, we got huge advantage from already set up infrastructure, already set up deployment pipelines, already set up practices, and best like that kind of stuff. So starting of a new project is really fast. So that is one key way of one key benefit in that particular case, because we didn't get so much competitive advantage from ready-made OutSystems components because we needed to tailor-made them. But we even in that case we benefit really much from ready-made infrastructure and that kind of stuff. Then, if that was savings and maybe from technological point of view a little bit, then a business angle. This is the text, or this. The text is directly from Solitas business designer, who is helping our customer to design key processes at the customer. Therefore, it has certain abstraction what he said, but the point here is that we had a case where our customer wanted to enhance its warehouse operations. There are plenty of different kind of operations and plenty of warehouses, and it's obvious that when you grow and when you buy new companies and that kind of stuff, the models that you are working, like process that you are working in different warehouses, differ a lot. So in Finland we decided that hey, we try to have one unified model, one way of working in each warehouse, and how it's also measured, and then we do Power Platform tools to help that. And our business designer and our customers' business people were extremely encouraged or empowered because they understood what Power Platform is. Our developers could show them that hey, this is our development interface. This is how the interface is developed. Now you wanted this. I put it there. What do you think? Is it to the right direction? So the business people were able to decide even quite small things, and they felt that it was all the time under their control. When the developer said that hey, that's what you meant, it's a little bit, look, I put it here and here. It's kind of what you asked for, but it's not exactly what you asked for. But is this good enough, or should we do exactly what you said? And usually it's good enough. But if we were in a traditional world where there is bigger gap between business and development, the developers would have done exactly what business was saying they want, even though they don't exactly want that. They just want something like that. So and what is the Power Platform or low-code approach here? In the beginning, we did prioritization. We tested out what is going on. We tried to understand what we need. We used this Moscow method, which probably nowadays should have a new name, but still must have, should have, could have, won't do type of prioritization. And from there we basically picked what we must do and what we can do fast with Power Platform. So what comes basically for free for us, and what we must do. And if there was some challenges in Power Platform in what we must do, so we extended it in Asia a little bit. As business said that, hey, this is this time really important. But this is like what to learn, or what is the like the some kind of insight I want to provide here is that these tools, even though they don't change everything, they change some small aspects in our everyday life, which makes a difference when you do it right. If this was like half a year long project, and if it has been any bigger, I think we were in more trouble. You don't always, low code isn't always obvious for you. We were having discussions with one customer about their internal budgeting tools. They are utilizing Power Platform already a lot, and they were asking for us that, hey, this sounds like, this is like Excel, so let's put it in Power Platform, right? We were eager, of course, in the beginning that, hey, let's learn more of this. But it turned out that, hey, there are lots and lots complex data. There are complex calculations, like business calculations, and error tolerance in budgeting isn't that big. So we can't have problems there. So we decided that, hey, there are better tools for this. This looks like no-go for Power Platform. Let's not do it with this. Customer agreed with us when we went through with this, and they decided to select something else. So if you have a low-code platform in your company, for example, please try to be agnostic in that sense that even though you look at low-code solution in the first, be prepared to like take a step back and think something else. And if you have no-code, low-code platform, you need to understand in the beginning that much of the overall project that you can spot if there are any like boundaries or limitations that you will hit in a way. Just few more slides. It's going to end soon. Don't worry. Scaling. This is food for thought. We created. Once again, we were sparring with business, understanding our customer, enhancing their internal processes with them. That's not the key here. The key is that we did also software for them with low code, and software was produced pretty quickly. Well, this happened in Finland, and because it was a success, they wanted that, hey, we have other countries as well. Let's do it in other countries as well. We had this business process designed, and we had this software solution. Traditionally, in this kind of way, we have been thinking that to scale this solution, we take the process and the software to other countries and say that, hey, let's use this, and try to unify the backend systems. And then we enter up to the huge projects where we are doing the unification of backend systems, which are often problematic. Our customer said that, hey, they are thinking it this way, that now when we have the process detailed and documented, let's put this process in every country, but do the software again in every country, because they had different backend systems and integration needs in each country. And let's benefit from low code, because doing the software is so fast if you know what you are doing. And why this food for thought? If you are an enterprise architect and you are looking your ecosystem, like solution ecosystem, and you see 7 solutions doing exactly the same thing in different countries, but they are different solutions, it gives you headache. But it will give you headache as well when you try to get those 7 backend systems to be one backend system. So I'm not saying that this is how you should do everything, but that's like thinking a little bit out of the box, that maybe software, like in a project which involves software, maybe software part isn't anymore the most pricey one and thing that takes most of the time. Okay, if you are looking for starting like journey in low code world, how to start? I guess this is pretty basic in that sense that probably ChatGPT could say same things or then something completely different. But the key idea here is to take the first step and take a small first step. Try to get the first wins, to try to get first learnings, and then when you have done the first thing, then do the second thing, and try to do it in some other domain or some other way than you did the first thing. If your first thing was extending internal system dynamics, let's do a mobile application next, so that you can learn how different aspects of the platform work. And when you get these kind of different angles or different domains under your sleeve, your architects or people who are planning are starting to learn where it fits best, and they can start look for more potential work like places for low code. And the end goal, of course, is that if everything in first 3 steps goes well, you can use low code everywhere where it is beneficial for you. You shouldn't use it everywhere. You shouldn't have blanket decision that now we will use low code for everything. Please don't. Please use it where you get benefits of it. Because you can fail. Failing. When low code journey hasn't gone so well, what has been our learnings? What has our customers said to us? What we have heard is that when we started to utilize low code, we thought that now everything is changed. We don't need to plan anymore. Everything is cheap and fast. We don't need to have continuous support. We don't need to have vendors anymore. We can do it all. Matthew in IT does it all now. From now on, we don't need to have Solida anymore, for example. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Small things have changed a little bit. The implementation and that kind of things have changed a little bit. But that's it. All the other aspects are still there. Other thing is that you should know your platform and you should know where it fits. Think of those angles that I presented earlier, that hey, this is for complex stuff or not complex stuff, and let's use it in that context. When you have had a platform, you have tested it, but you haven't committed to it, it usually you start to discuss about prices. Hey, this is pricey, and we don't utilize it enough, so it doesn't make sense to pay the price. Price shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but for some reason it every now and then seems to be. So if you have agreed to pay the price, you should commit to that sense to the platform that you try to get maximum value out of it. Of course, if your company doesn't benefit enough, then it's good to like leave the platform. But too often we see that kind of discussion that we did one thing, we didn't want to do anything else. Now the platform is quite expensive. That is like I don't know. Of course, if you tested it and you didn't get the benefits, of course you should get rid of it. But also, if you have seen the reason to pay the price, go with that. Okay. What is fun here is that this same, you could take any, like 10 years back, I could have been here talking about public cloud, for example, Azure, and show this exactly the same slide and say that, hey, these are the reasons of failure. So these are not so much like a low-code specific, but anyhow, this kind of platform-specific things. This is just yet another platform, or these are. So hopefully what you remember after this all, if you are still alive, if you decide to utilize low-code, 5 points. Give head start for design. The implementation is really fast, or especially starts fast. 2, things that used to take lots of calendar time, like setting up VPNs, access management, that kind of stuff, they will still have use a lot of time. That hasn't changed. Tools focus mostly on development phase, but you need to have architects, you need to have security, you need to have testers, you need to have those people around your low-code team. Know your platform, know where it fits best. Utilize it when it has its full potential, and when it doesn't, don't use it. When you have a platform, please utilize it in many ways. If you have this kind of professional development platform, you do big projects with it, you have done ERP and extending your ERP and whatnot. Don't think it only as a systems development platform. Tell also your design or R&D people that, hey, this is available for you as well. You can do the small things, pilots, you can do whatever, test it out, because that gives you the additional value of the platform, which you are already paying. Thank you. I don't know what time was like promised, but that was what I had to say.
It was really good. Thank you. We do have some questions actually here. And the first question that we got was from Franklin, who wonders, do Solita offer trainings on low code for individuals?
Yes and no. We are having those kind of boot camps together with our partners, for example, Microsoft and OutSystems, where we are helping them and taking part of the trainings. Also in universities, we have these kind of sessions where we are teaching how to use like ABC stuff. But the thing is that these vendors have really good materials online, and because they are like focused on citizen development, they are focused on the idea that anybody should be able to learn this. The material online is really good, so that's what we are mostly like utilizing.
Also, another interesting question is the newest AI inventions a threat, or are they a benefit to low-code platforms? Yeah,
that is like an excellent question. And I think in long run, who knows? In a short term, it is too early to say. Power Platform, for example, Microsoft owns Power Platform. They also have heavily invested in OpenAI. They are only now bringing Copilot, so OpenAI capabilities, basically to every product they ever had. And they have publicly said that we will put it to everything that we have ever made. Copilot will be there. But it's just coming. It is in preview if you are living in the US. So next year we can be more like utilizing those things. But I think there will be the key chance here will be that creating the developers with low code will be even faster than earlier, and the citizen developers or inexperienced developers will be more able to than ever before. And same applies, of course, to traditional developer. Developers will be faster there as well.
And how about the cost of low-code platforms? Does licensing models create restrictions of usage, or?
Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't want to go the pricing today too much because each product has its own way of licensing. But in principle, they are seat-based, so user-based licensing, and which means that if your company will do internal solutions or applications with a low-code application platform, you need to buy license for every user that uses them. But the catch is there that when you have a license for a user, it usually means that they can use so many or as many applications as you have. So it is this kind of when people either have the license or they don't have the license, and when they do have a license, you can utilize the low-code platform for them as much as you have how much you want. So more you use the platform, the more value you get it from that way. But of course, from license vendor who is selling those licenses, they are eager to say that, hey, just use it more. It gets cheaper. But that's somewhat the truth as well.
And we have another question here. And are low-code tools good for modernizing legacy applications? If so, how?
Excellent. Yes. There's two ways. Traditionally, when modernizing applications, we replace the application. But sometimes that is painful. And with low code, we have this practical way of circling these legacy applications so that users don't see the legacy thing anymore. All the user interfaces and integrations and all that, we modernize that level, but the key or the old thing is still there if replacing it is too painful. So that is one possibility, that low code being the connectivity to legacy system is good. That is one key benefit of low code platforms, and that's something unique in low code. Of course, with traditional coding, you can replace and modernize the application, but that is unique way regarding low code. I don't know if I answered the question, but at least somewhere there.
And
we can take
from
the room as well.
Sure.
Is this on? Okay, I'd like to ask you a similar question. What about the portability between platforms? Is that a possibility?
You mean between low-code platform to other low-code platform? No, there are no such thing basically. So if you are in a Microsoft Power Platform box, then you are there, and if you have Mendix box, it's completely different, and the technologies inside are completely different.
If you start wrong and you think you would need 2 developers and it's much bigger, then you have to start from scratch in a new platform.
Pretty much, yes. But that is the key, that with those simpler end things, that is exactly the problem. And that's why we need to know in advance about which kind of complexity we will encounter. When we come to the professional development tools, Mendix, OutSystems, so forth, there are no that kind of situation that you can't do it. You can always do it without bending it too much, or you can extend those platforms with traditional code, so your team can write C# there, for example. So you don't hit that kind of wall that, oh my God, we did a wrong decision, now we can't get forward at all and we need to ditch this. that's not happening with the like more professional tools. But in the lower end, like with Power Platform, for example, you could hit that wall, but in that case as well, you can do extensions in Azure. But it starts to the complexity increases. But
in your experience, are the platforms sort of intentionally sticky?
No, I think not. I think those platforms are trying to avoid vendor locking as much as they can. Of course, they are these kind of monolith platforms, but usually you get, for example, from OutSystems, you get the code. It's a code generator. It generates code. If you decide to get rid of the platform, you can get the code with you. What it has generated. It is somewhat human readable, the code.
Somewhat.
Yeah, well, it's computer generated, but it is not obfuscated, so you can actually read it.
You don't get the comments to the code. It's just bare code.
Well, you get that kind of stuff with you, but I don't. I think the vendor locking thing and stickiness. I think there's two things. They are if we are not believing that we will be. If we are afraid that they will be milking us, the prices are going steeply high from vendor point of view, or if vendor drops from the bandwagon and AI takes over, but our vendor doesn't keep in the pace. These two things are that we are like afraid of. If the pricing goes up, or if the platform isn't anymore like relevant, and but those things are what we need to think of when we are selecting a platform.
Yeah, so 200 platforms, some are likely to fail, right?
Most probably, or there will be mergers or something like that.
Okay, I just one more question. In my experience, we rarely do new code. We utilize already existing code very much. Libraries, tools, everything around. So how's that here?
Yeah, that is exactly the same here. Those platforms try to be as a box. And inside of box, when you have done a microservice, for example, or library or whatever, it is available for every developer in the same box. So if you are using Power Platform, OutSystems, Mendix, or Salesforce, it goes like in the same format that you can utilize the ready-made components what your team has made over and over again, and different teams can utilize it as well. So it is actually that part is really good.
Yes, I have one question. It's related to developers. We know that it can be quite challenging sometimes to get professional developers look into these tools. They might have tried it 10 years ago and said, I know this was not my cup of tea. So do you have any recipe at Solita for tackling this challenge and how to get them engaged in trying out?
Yeah, forcing everybody. No. Usually when I'm talking with developers and technical experts, the first question they ask, what are the limitations? Because they have utilized and tested and played around low-code tools many times already earlier. For example, OutSystems, 20 years old company. Before that, some of you maybe remembers Oracle Forms and that kind of stuff, which were also low-code in a sense. Well, yeah. So in Solita, our OutSystems and Power Platform developers, we have two kinds of people. We have kind of junior people who has been having this IT career like 2 to 4 or 5 years, and then we have people who have been here like doing IT stuff for like 20 or 30 years, and they are already a little bit like, hey, I have already done this enough many times, these forms or these same pipelines all over again, and they are looking for end results rather than doing the same things all over again. So for us, it like spreading the word and telling the different aspects that benefits our developers rather than trying to force them has been the key. And our internal traditional development teams are actually utilizing low code as like helping them in development process. We have certain kind of helper util tools for developers done with Power Platform, for example. They utilize that in product management and that kind of stuff in our. And the architect and senior developers asked that, hey, they don't want to build this because this is so basic stuff and they don't want to take care of it and run it and all that. So could this be done with low code? And then they saw the potential and they are now interested and so on. So leading by example and telling the story, I think that's the key.
Is it a big step for experienced developers to start using low code?
No, and that's the funny part that we said that junior developers are really fast to get the value. If you are already professional developers, it's even faster, of course. So if you are interested in any of these platforms, it takes just a little bit of your time and you have a new tool in your toolbox.
Cool. Well, we don't have any more questions here. Do we have any more questions in the room? No? In that case, we will send out a survey and we will send out the recording of this session to you. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.